Hello YouTube, this is the Rambling Painter making my very first ever video. So I'm just going to go over the intentions of what I'll be doing in these videos pretty much for while I'm making them. And it's basically in the name. I'll be rambling and painting. So the whole time I'll pretty much be talking about whatever comes to mind, whatever's there, just kind of a way to pass the time and kind of get things done. So that way, if any of you want to follow along, just listen to some guy not know how to shut up, or just kind of watch some painting and mute me out. It's your choice, and you do what you would like. So I'll be painting and talking about anything and everything, from popular topics to anything out there. Now, some guidelines I will be going over. I will not be doing anything on politics, religion, anything like that. I'm staying out of the fun games there are, but I will be focusing a lot on probably video games, books, TV shows, things that are going to be a little more out there. And right now I'm kind of showing off some of the things I have finished, and I am intending on, at a later point, opening up doing commission work so I can paint for anybody that wants the things painted and just isn't comfortable making it, or doesn't think they'll be good enough, or just doesn't have the time. So I will be working rather hard to try and work around my job and do what I can, and I've got a lot in the backlogs. I have quite a few characters, from Dark Angels to Black Templars, Mechanicus, and I even have some Age of Sigmar stuff. And with commission work, I'll paint anything. You got something you want painted from anything from Star Wars stuff, D&D. I am completely open for painting. A lot of these are still unfinished, but I do focus a lot on, I try to do detail work as best I can. I haven't fully figured everything out for that, so do give it a bit of time before I'm fully up and running on that. But at least for the time being, I will just be painting, talking, letting you know what's going on while I'm painting, what I'm doing. Because so far, I've finished a number of big characters: Marnius Calgar, Trajan Valoris, High Marshal Helbricht, Fyodor Karamazov. And this is, it's kind of hard to get it to focus, but this Kriegsman here is probably the most definite character I've made, with a lot of small detail work. Tried to put some writing in the book, but obviously my brush wasn't that small, but I was able to get a lot of other fine detail work done on it. So I will just kind of be here doing my thing. I will possibly be starting things up like Patreon, things like that, if things go well enough, people like my videos and really do want to just kind of either hear me talking or watch me painting or seeing what crazy things I'm up to this time. So I will eventually be taking suggestions on what to do, what to talk about, but for the time being, while things are slow, small, and I have to work around my own schedule, I'll just kind of be here talking about anything and everything. So there are plans for the future, things I'd like to see done, things I'd like to do, but when we'll get to them, that's a completely different monster, and something that is gonna be down the road. So there will be a lot of things where, there will be a lot of days, times where I'll probably, if I start commission work, I'll be painting random things, so you won't see the same thing every time. So I might get started on a character and not finish in the video, and then suddenly the next video I might be doing something different, and that's possibly because I have a commission I'm working on. Because I do have a lot of backlog characters: Belial, Asmodai, I've got Azrael, have his Watcher, which, goodness, pewter models. That was a shocking weight behind that. And I have a number of large characters. I have Mortarion, I have Rodigus. I need to finish them. I have them base coated, but I actually need to fully paint them. They will probably be on a video. And I do intend to get more bigger characters. And like I said, I do have some from Age of Sigmar. I have a few of the Night Haunts, not anything too crazy. Just recently built them, so they will be... They're kind of a backlog paint thing. They're not going to be, oh, they'll be painting in a few days. No, I'm going to focus on my 40K first, and or if I am able to get commissions up and running faster than I am anticipating, I'll be working on those more than my own stuff first, because, well, when you're getting paid to do something, you kind of want to do it right and do it properly for them. But these are just kind of some of the things I can do, have been doing. That way everybody kind of sees what they're getting into. So I will take suggestions for characters, things you want to see painted. That way kind of gives you a bit of insight. Whereas comparative to what I'll be talking about, that's going to be anything and everything from what video games I've been playing, what I found interesting, and all that other stuff. So feel free, stay around, watch me paint, watch me do anything, and just listen to me talk, because that's pretty much all I'm going to be doing here. I may eventually try and branch out if things get big enough, if people like what I do, like what I make, if people really get interested in my commission work and I start getting more and more characters being paid to paint for people or things like that. I have not done anything with bases yet. I'm going to try and start doing some of those shortly here, especially with some of my Death Guard, since they're more... they're a little more unique to me. I like how the Death Guard functions aesthetic-wise, so I'm willing to play a bit more with the bases. With a lot of the other characters, there's things I'm still uncertain with. The base stuff is a lot more expensive, so I have to be a lot more careful about buying it. And same thing goes. While paints can go a long way, they're still fairly pricey. So that's another roadblock with commission stuff where I'm trying to figure out prices, because I want to be fair. I want to be fair to all of you who are just here to watch and enjoy. I don't want to plug a bunch of what I'm trying to sell or get you to do or anything like that. I want to try and just focus on the painting. And when it comes to the commission work, I want to be fair and open. That way, people who are just getting into the hobby can have a chance, because I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with a lot of these. Not even Warhammer in particular, other model games, the Star Wars stuff, or even 3D printed things. If people want to 3D print either their own models or statues, things like that, it gets complicated. It gets expensive. So I want to keep it fair so people that don't have a big budget but are unsure of their own ability have a chance. Because even with me, I was scared when I started this. I'm scared to even start this channel, to be honestly. I'm scared to make this first video. It's all massive jumps for me. Things that I never would have thought of, things I wouldn't have tried. I was afraid to get into 40K because I always heard, it's so expensive. And it is. I will not lie. It is expensive. But the amount of fun I have had actually painting these, the sheer fact that I can sit here and say, this Marneus Calgar is my Marneus Calgar. It's not yours. It's not Games Workshop's. While they own the right to the character, I painted this one. So it feels more personal. Same with Fyodor Karamazov. This was not an easy man to paint. And he's one that I wanted to paint right, because he's a dumb character in the lore, but he's one of the most interesting characters in The Emperor Has a Text-to-Speech Device, a show that I really enjoyed. If Alphaboosis happens to just stumble across this video, I really am enjoying The Hunter of the Parenting, and I highly recommend people to watch that. But there's a lot of things to get into all of these, and if you're unsure of Warhammer, if you're stumbled across this being like, I've been wondering about this Warhammer thing, how is it? How does it go? How easy or difficult is it? It's out there. You really have to focus hard to fall in love with it. It's not a sit back and enjoy kind of thing half the time, because to get into buying and building all these characters, especially when now there's so many named characters. Your bland, faceless people like your Kriegsmen, I say bland, really good characters, but people that don't have names, people that are just out there. Your generic Space Marines, your generic Kriegsmen, Astra Militarum, there's not a lot about them. You can do whatever you want with them. You can paint them how you want. There's all kinds of different vehicles, things like that. And they get big. I mean, Doomstrider Walker here, I can barely fit him into frame because of how I have this set up. But there are a lot of different characters, a lot of different options, a lot of places to go. You can start with any of them. Everything down to your most basic of Space Marines, to the smallest Guardsmen, to the really, really tiny Scarab. These are Scarabs here from the Necrons, to Chaos and their weird and sometimes very grotesque styles, because I will not lie, Death Guard, probably one of the grossest of almost anything I've ever seen anywhere, but very cool. Still, I mean, all the horns and spikes and rotting things. Death Guard is disgusting, but cool. There are a lot of things you can get into, but understanding it is where it gets complicated. Books are expensive, even the rule books. The rule books are $50 a pop. So it's hard to get into this kind of an activity, but it is a wonderful one to get into. It's fun to sit down, play the game, talk with people about the lore, your thoughts, their thoughts, and even to build and paint these. Not everyone's going to have the time, not everyone's going to have the ability. And some people just want to play the game. They don't want to take the time to do this. That's why I'm opening this up. It's why I'm going to do these videos, talk about this stuff. It gives somebody distraction. Because I can just talk and basically give you something to listen to for your time. If you're at work and you just want to hear somebody rambling about nonsense. If you're sitting at home not sure what to do and you want to watch somebody paint and listen to them so it gives you something to do. If you want to have someone to paint along to, while I may not be talking to you, I very much know that that's how I started. My very first time actually painting, I was watching the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast, and they were painting a Helldrake for Zinch, and I was painting the Emperor's Champion. I remember that. That was the first time I painted, and I really got into it from there. It was easier for me to focus because I had something distracting me, something to focus on while focusing. Kind of counterintuitive, but it was easier for me to go with the flow because I was watching somebody else do it, and they were just kind of sitting there going at it, talking to people. And same thing, listening helped me calmly get through this. I was able to focus on this while listening to something else. It kept me from sitting there thinking, oh, is this too much? Is that too much? Are the parchments, is everything just right on the parchments? No, you do it and you enjoy it. Some characters will be frustrating. Fyodor Karamazov was not an easy character for me. Don't know how well you can see it in here, but his feet didn't go so well. Yeah, it doesn't want to focus too well, but I had to pack a bunch of super glue and spray paint to get his feet to stay. It's a miracle he's standing, because honestly, I thought it would have fallen, but thankfully, I got it right. I got it fixed, and it looks great. It's something that I doubt most people would notice, unless I point it out to them, like I just did. Kind of like a fool. But there is a lot of things you can do with these characters. There are mistakes that can be made at every turn, but you don't have to fear them because they're easy to hide and most people won't notice them if you don't say anything. I took a chunk out of Slime Arbo's shoulder, and I doubt anybody'd be able to tell which shoulder I took a chunk out of at all, because just the way that the characters look, it's easy to hide these things. Painting, positioning, all of it makes it fairly simple and easy, even for mistakes to just be kind of washed over. And even then, even if mistakes are made, battle scars are an easy thing to add. I had a terrible time painting some of my bigger vehicles, or I didn't have the right tools for shaving off all the bits and pieces, or I'd cut too deep on occasion. So what did I do? Battle scar. Bit of lead belcher, dry brush, and or just properly painted in there if it was a deep cut so it made it look like a bullet hole. Painting is probably the hardest part about this. Building is quite fun. I find it relaxing. But even with painting, you don't have to stress. I put work into detail work. I try to get all the tiny things. I get things gold that I want gold, the emblems, the symbols, the skulls. I do my best to try and get all that fine detail. I try to do shading when I can, when I find it easy and applicable for things like here in Trajan Valoris's cloak or skirt? That's probably not the right thing to call it. I feel bad for that, but in the lion, I tried to get the hair in the mane, getting the shading right, and I got trying to get in between all of the lines of the eagle and his cloak. There's a lot of fine detail work I enjoy doing, but not everyone has to do it. You can just go for basic. There are some people that will do, kind of like with my other custodian here. I have just spray painted him gold. I'm going to do more work because I want to do more work. But some people will just spray paint it gold, paint a few things that they don't want to be gold. For instance, the plume, they might paint red, black, something. And sometimes people will paint the blade, or because there's a lot of things on these characters, a lot of tiny details, but advantage with Custodes, a lot of it's still gold. Doesn't matter how much there is, when the majority of it is just more gold, you don't have to worry so much. And that's one thing I recommend. Get something easy to paint. Start yourself with something where if you're not sure, you don't got to worry about it. Who cares if your guardsmen have just like 3 colors on them? Who cares? They're tiny, they're kind of out of the way characters. It's okay if they're a little more minimalist. Even bigger characters, Space Marines. Black Templars are one of the easiest and most difficult characters to paint, because the High Marshal here is not a good example, but on a lot of them, it's a lot of black, a little bit of white, and then some red. Black is not that hard. Honestly, Black Templar paint, it's a contrast. I don't even use Abaddon Black. I use Black Templar by itself. I spray paint the base of Lead Belcher, apply Black Templar and however many coats is needed, and I leave it at that. The white is where it gets complicated, because white is difficult. You have different kinds. Wraithbone, a little more yellowish, but very useful, especially when you're making things like parchment. I used Wraithbone and Rackart flesh to really help kind of pull the tones in the parchment. But you've got things as basic as, or even with skin, Reichardt flesh. You can tan it as much as you want. You can get it fairly dark. You can get it fairly pale. You can even just go straight Reichardt flesh, but it looks a little unnatural. But sometimes that's what you want. I mean, that's how I got the flesh on Helbrecht's guys. Oop, out of camera there. I just did Rackart flesh because they're meant to look a little more sickly. Not as healthy of people. But these things are just tiny details. Things you don't have to do. Things you can choose to do. And you can paint whatever you want. I find it fun. I find it enjoyable. Some of you might not. Some of you might like building but not painting. Some of you might just really want to play, but you don't want to have to go out there and buy someone's pre-made stuff. You want it to be yours. And that's where people like me will come into play. My commission work, stuff like that, once I get it fully up and running, I will be there to let you have your character. You can tell me the main colors you want, what you're wanting it to be, and I will do my best to make it that. Now, I'm still having to learn a few things. I'm not good with iconography. The little tiny stickers you have to put on shoulder pads. I'm not good with that stuff yet. I'm still not perfect on the bases, but I can understand the bases. I can probably get them. I can understand the iconography. I'd need to get used to it. But I'm trying my best because I want everyone to enjoy these hobbies as much as possible. If you want to play D&D and have figures, but you're afraid of going out and buying something somebody else made, you want it to be yours, but you are afraid of the talent, that's where commission work comes in. Be it me, another person, there's all sorts of places out there. But it lets you have your character your way. Because you specify what you want, we paint it, we do it, we design it, we add detail work depending upon how much you want done. Now, obviously, pricing gets annoying. Pricing varies. And when you've already bought the characters on top of it, it can cause problems. But that is where really the beauty comes in. It's being afraid at first and then finding the light at the end of the tunnel that makes it so great, makes it so fun. I never would have dreamt I could have done this. When I finally just kind of walked into one of my local game stores and bought the Combat Patrol Pack for the Mechanicus, I was so scared because, oh, this is expensive, oh, this is hard to do. And then I looked at all the big, terrifying instructions with millions of tiny parts, and I was worried, but I did it. I went through, I built everything in the Combat Patrol Pack, and I built them. I bought a rule book, and I decided I don't want to be a normal Mechanicus. I don't want to be baseline Mars, or I don't want to be Metallica. I want to be my own. And to me, that's where beauty comes with a game like Warhammer. In a lot of the other in a lot of those other tabletop games, excluding D&D, but D&D's a very different type of game, but you don't get to pick a lot of things. You have your mainstays, and that's it. You can design them differently, but there's still going to be X, Y, or Z. Here, there's homebrews. You can make your own Forge World for the Mechanicus, your own home planet for your Space Marines, all of these things. And I enjoy that. I enjoy that openness and the sheer fact that even if I had no skill, if I built all of these and I found out I couldn't paint these, I still can build them. I can spray paint them. I can pay somebody else to paint them for me. I can describe to them what I'd like to see. And I can hope and I can rely on other people in the community to help me. Because unlike a lot of other communities, I find the Warhammer community very interesting. People are very friendly in ways that you wouldn't have expected. You hear a lot of bad things. But I've not met one of these people that cares really anything about who you are in a bad way. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. They don't care who you are. They care that you're enjoying what you're doing. You can be whoever you want to be. You can be yourself while enjoying this. And it's not anything to be afraid of. Now, obviously, restrict yourself. I was bad with this. I went out, I bought a bunch. I mean a bunch. I have a bunch unpainted that I'm going to be using these videos to paint. I have a lot more that will probably stay undone because of time constraints, work, and if I get the commission work up and running, commission work. So be reasonable in what you want and what you do with it, but don't be afraid of it. There's a lot that goes on that we all fear every day. We all are scared of things, and sometimes finding that new hobby is one of those things. We're afraid, is it going to be appropriate? Am I going to be seen as childish? Or is this a waste of my time? Well, time flies by whether or not we're wasting it or not. So finding that thing that you're enjoying. I enjoy this greatly. It has brought a smile to my face that I don't think I've felt in the longest time. And same thing with this video. I have gained some strength. I have done some things that I was afraid I wouldn't be able to do, or I was afraid of the outcomes. I took a large leap, and it's helped me push to do this as well. And I mean, this was meant to be an introduction, and this is really helping with the introduction, because it's the point. I'm rambling, because I have completely lost the point of even going over half of what I was going to. I don't have scripts, I don't have things. It's basically, I'm going to decide on a topic and I'm just going to talk. Because I want people to have something to help themselves, have something to make them smile. Be it listening to an idiot that just doesn't know how to stop talking, just going on, or watching somebody paint, or possibly even maybe seeing how much I enjoy it. If it can help any of you, that's what I want. I want people to have fun. I want people to enjoy the things out there, enjoy what they can do. Because there's a lot of things that people can't control, a lot of things people can't do. And to me, this is something I can do, something I can do. I can paint these things. I can offer that to help people that can't, or are afraid, or people who just don't enjoy doing it. People that find that their stuff isn't good to what they want. While it's a bit of money, it's fun. And even if you want to buy them pre-finished, you can buy them pre-finished. There might come a point when I have enough of every army that I might start buying them, painting them, and then selling them. I'm trying, for the Patreon stuff, I'm trying to figure out how I want to frame it. I'm thinking on doing possible giveaways for characters. Now, I'm going to be careful about them, because I don't want to give away my characters, the ones that I've specifically gotten for me, because Fyodor Karamazov was an expensive miniature. $50, and I had to buy it twice, because the instructions were not very clear on this guy. I accidentally glued the throne backwards originally, so I had to buy it all over again. Not fun. But I want people to find that thing that makes them happy. And take this as a positive. Even if this channel fails, even if everything all said and done, I open up commissions, I do all that, and after a year of doing it, I have to shut it all down because I'm not making enough. So it doesn't justify doing it outside of my actual job. Or if in half a year, 2 years, a year, I'm sitting here having left my job, focusing on this, doing all of these things to make videos for all of you, and to paint and do commission work so people can have their characters, have their fun. This is what I want to do. Whether I sink or swim, take this as encouragement. I took a step out and I made my first ever video. I never felt that I could. I don't know if people will like it. I hope people do. I want people to enjoy their time. But at the same time, I still did it. Whether people like it or not, I did something I was afraid of. And it wasn't easy. I had to buy things I wasn't prepared for. And even now, I had a microphone I bought. Microphone didn't work because it didn't come with the adapter like it said it would, because I'm filming this on my phone. So I do apologize if the audio is a little rough, but it could have been worse. I listened to it myself, and it sounded terrible, but everybody says their own voice sounds bad to them when they listen to it in recordings. And I mean, yeah, I've got the big fuzzy thing right here. But once I get that up and running, if that microphone to me sounds better, then I'll keep using it. If it doesn't, I might stick with this if it doesn't sound bad to you guys. And by all means, don't be afraid of these things. These little plastic characters, they're pricey, yes, but there are a ton of things you can do with them. You're not beholden to stick to one thing. Like me, a named character is a different story. You want to paint them the way they're supposed to be painted because they're a named character. But if they're not a named character, like this captain, I could have made him a Black Templar, could have made him an Ultramarine, Blood Angel. I could have made him whatever I wanted. But I wanted to do Dark Angels. Because, to me, there are 3 factions I really, really love in Warhammer. Black Templars, Dark Angels, and Krieg, for obvious reasons, but there's not Krieg models. But the one that I really find the most fascinating, one that it's not so much one I care about playing, one that it's a lot harder building and painting them, but is the Mechanicus. They are absolutely my favorite in a lore perspective. Followed by Black Templars and Dark Angels, kind of neck and neck. They both have their own niches, their own things that they're there for, their people they're meant for. But it's fun. There's a lot of options, a lot of choices. And over the time that I'm making these videos, that I'm painting, that all of you are listening, watching, doing whatever, I want to encourage all of you. If you're afraid of these characters, buy a small one. Well, maybe not a small one, but get something that's not big. Get a character that you can go and buy, and it's like, say, oh, I don't know, this Dreadnought here. I've got a Venerable Dreadnought. You can buy just a regular, you don't got to do the Venerable Dreadnoughts. I bought this Dreadnought, well, someone got it for me for Christmas, but I can buy another one of these Dreadnoughts, and they're about $45, $50. A bit on the pricey side, but they're fairly decent in size. You have a lot of details that are easy to access and easy to paint. I am intending on turning this guy into a Dark Angel. Originally, I was thinking Black Templars because, well, I painted a lot of Black Templars, but that's why I've decided to go with Dark Angels, because I've done way too many Black Templars. But you have the choice to start this stuff. If you just want to watch, you can just watch. If you just want to listen, you can just listen. If you just want to hear lore about any of these things, you can do that. I'll be talking about so many different things. Some of it will be about Warhammer. Some of it will be about video games, other board games, books, movies, TV shows. Like, I'm probably going to do, for my very first full-length video, that's not me kind of introducing what I'll be doing, which I still have done a bad job of because I've just been non-stop talking about all sorts of different things. My first one, I'm probably going to focus on Elden Ring. It's big. A lot of people like it. I love the game. I'll go into details about things, how I feel, things like that in that video. But I'll still be painting. I'll be giving you something to watch. Yes, I haven't painted it all in this video, but that's the point. I want to show off what I've done, what I'm capable of, and what I hope all of you will see is not as difficult as it seems. Because these brushes are fairly cheap. I bought a massive pack of these brushes from Amazon for like 15 bucks, and I have a bunch of them, and I have used this one brush to paint multiple figures. I've actually only ruined roughly 3 brushes, like this one. It's kind of hard to see, but this is really frayed out. This is good for big painting. If I have a large character or a large selection that I have to paint a color. So the Dreadnought, going to be painting a lot of Wraithbone on that. So this is a good brush for that because it's worn down, so it's okay to just kind of spread the paint around. But detail work, you want fine point brushes, but they're not expensive. They're not hard to get, and while it can take a practiced hand, that's why I say go with bigger models. Do bigger first, because then you can focus on that detail work if you want to. And if you just want 3 colors and a Nuln Oil wash, you can do that. You don't have to add detail. I add detail because I find it fun. That meticulous work of sitting there and slightly getting it in there and then enjoying the finished product. I mean, Trajan Valoris, I was so happy when I got that lion done. It was not an easy thing to do. I couldn't get all the colors that they actually recommended. I had to cut corners and do things differently. But I did it. I figured it out. And I liked it. And that's all that matters for all of you too. If you want to get into this, if you want more of it, watching these videos, listening to these videos, painting, paying for commission work, if all that matters is you get to do things the way you want. Don't let your commissioner, I say commissioner like it's like a police commissioner. No, don't let the person you're commissioning Don't let other YouTubers or other content creators or other players tell you how to enjoy your experience. If you want to pay someone to paint it because you are afraid of that you can't do it, or you don't have the time, or you just don't want to, don't feel bad about it. If you want other people to do all of it, like if you want to buy it but you want someone else to build it and paint it, don't feel bad about it, because it's not for everybody. It's just like building models. Some people are really good at it. I don't like the idea of it, because yes, this is sort of the same thing, but I can do stuff with this. One, the painting is a lot more detailed to me because it's a lot smaller, and I'm free to paint it how I want without feeling pressured. Because a lot of the times when people do full-blown models, they're expecting accuracies. Same thing too, I can do stuff with these. I can play Warhammer. You can play Warhammer. It's not hard to play, and there's surprisingly a lot more places to go and play it than you think. So, by all means, I hope you'll stick around. I hope you'll keep watching. I hope you'll enjoy what I do. I hope I've put a smile on someone's face, or maybe inspired somebody in just this short time that I've been talking. And I hope you'll all be back. I don't know when I'll have the next video. I might make it later today. Probably not, because it is halfway through the day and I have a lot of other things to do. I'm going to try and get out at least a video a week if I can. Work is really going to put a damper on that, and scheduling, because I've got other people in this house, so I have to be careful about how loud I can be, when I can be. So we'll see where things go from there. There's a lot I still plan on trying to do, a lot I want to attempt getting done, and a lot I want all of you there for. From starting up, I'm going to be getting a Twitter and a Facebook here shortly. I've already got a PayPal, I just have to try, so I'm almost done. I've almost got everything set up to where I can sit here and I can do commission work for any of you. If any of you watching want it done, or you want your stuff on a video, I'm going to be having that as an option. And I've been thinking of ways to make it more reasonable for everybody as well, or ways to possibly, mark what's been done. So if anybody wants to, like, I got a bunch of these little things. I'm going to try and paint some of them later and kind of send them as chips. So it's like whenever anybody buys or pays for commission work and it's all said and done, do a bit of all the paint that I've done on it on one of these chips, and possibly like sign it or something. I'm not thinking I'm that big. I don't want to sound arrogant. I'm trying to not sound arrogant. I'm just kind of excited that I've gotten over some of these fears, and I'm trying to think of ways to make it better for everybody. That way people can take pride in what they do, and I can take pride in what I've done. Because so long as you're not prideful of the wrong things, it's okay to be happy with stuff. It's okay to enjoy stuff. It's okay to feel like you've done well. So I guess this will probably be where I'm going to end things for today. I hope you've enjoyed the rambling, and feel free to stop by on anytime. Like I said, I'll be trying to make more videos. Hopefully it'll go through well, and with any luck, and with the help of all of you, maybe I can take this over as my full-time job. Maybe I can focus more on this, and maybe I can get better quality equipment. There's a lot I'd like to see done, a lot that would be great to happen that I'm honestly not expecting to happen, but more surprising things have come out of this. So all of you have a wonderful day, and if you end up having any questions on anything, pop them in the comments. Maybe I'll stumble across them. I'm still getting used to a lot of this, and this video really kind of just broke down at the end. So I better just stop now. So all of you have a wonderful day, and hopefully see you back at the next time we're painting.